Coming up on the Wheelhouse Retirement Show, you've been planning to retire for years, but do you have a total retirement plan? Today, you'll learn the key components of a comprehensive retirement plan. You know you'll need income in retirement and that it will be important to avoid losses with your investments, but what are you overlooking? Rishi and Anthony will walk you through it. Plus, how will the Secure Act 2.0 affect your retirement? You'll hear how in today's planning tip of the week. The Wheelhouse Retirement Show starts right now.
Retirement is more than a destination. It's a journey that starts with a dream. A vision for the way you want to live, recharge, and give back. To get there, you need a plan to make your retirement dreams come true. Now in its second season, the Wheelhouse Retirement Show provides you with the essential strategies needed to plan your ideal retirement. From income planning and wealth management to strategies for taxes, long-term care, and leaving a legacy, Rishi Ghosh, Anthony Stryker, and the team at Wheelhouse Advisory Group provide modern solutions and comprehensive plans for your journey to and through retirement. This is the Wheelhouse Retirement Show.
Welcome to the Wheelhouse Retirement Show. I'm Amy Sharp. Joining me today, Rishi Ghosh and Anthony Stryker with Wheelhouse Advisory Group. It's great to be back with you guys.
So good to see you.
Excited to be back.
We've got a great show as always. Lots to talk about today. Let's get right to it. I've heard you say before that one of your specialties, one of them at Wheelhouse Advisory Group, is working with investors from that accumulation stage to the distribution stage, and that's a big factor that plays into retirement. When do investors need to kind of make that change to their portfolios?
You know, here at Wheelhouse, our specialty is helping people make that change from the accumulation phase of life into the distribution phase of life. And as Anthony and I have said for years, it's very difficult from a mindset standpoint because generally during the accumulation phase of life, you have one big goal, which is growing your money. Growth is the number one goal of the portfolio. How do I make 100,000, 200,000, 500,000, a million, so on and so forth. But what we have seen is once people enter this 5-year time window of moving from pre-retirement into retirement, that's when they start having different goals start coming into their portfolio. And the reason why we think that 5-year time window is so important is we're big studiers of market history here. And if we look at every major market correction in this country, it generally takes somewhere between 2.5 to 3 years to get back to break even, assuming you're not touching your funds during that time frame. Sometimes people break even quicker, sometimes it takes a little bit longer. So we would not like to see a pre-retiree have $1.5 million today, let's just say wake up tomorrow, be down to 900,000, and then just fight for the next 2.5 to 3 years just to try to regain what they already had. So really what we like to tell people is once you get to the phase where you say, hey, if I make another $500,000, that's great, but at this phase of my life, I just don't want to lose. That's when you want to start making this transition. We generally see in that 5-year time window.
Okay, let's talk about the word holistic. This is a big word at Wheelhouse. You talk about this holistic retirement planning. What does that mean? Take us through that.
We do, and our clients and our viewers, they hear the word holistic a lot when it comes to our planning strategies. And really, in short, holistic means total comprehensive retirement planning. Strategies that go together, work together to make sure that our goals are achieved. Like Rishi said, in these, all through your working years, you had that one goal to grow these funds. Now you're getting ready to spend these funds. Now you're getting ready to figure out, what's the best tax efficient way to spend these funds. And ideally, we're going to pass away at the end of our retirement, passing on a legacy to our heirs there. So holistic retirement planning, total comprehensive retirement planning comes down to 3 basic strategies or 3 total strategies at Wheelhouse. First, we have investment and income strategies. How do I grow my money? How do I take my money and get the income I need? Tax planning strategies here. What do my taxes look like as far as pre-tax, after-tax, and tax-free assets that I have? And then also, like I mentioned, about passing on to the next generation, making sure that there's a rock-solid estate plan around it to make sure that things flow on to the next generation or charities of your choice smoothly and efficiently there. But the most important thing is here at Wheelhouse, we do that all under one roof. We make sure that all of these work together towards those same goals so that we don't have to have different plans in different places, hoping that they all work together. And so we call that kind of our boring but congruent retirement plan with all of these pillars, but we really just want to make sure our clients understand how those strategies work together.
Sometimes boring works, if it works, that
course.
is important. Let's start with income and investment planning. Why do you separate out the two?
The reason why we separate these investment and income planning strategies is even though they're all under one pillar, they are two separate entities when it comes to your individualized plan. Income plans, a lot of people think about, I have expenses of $10,000 a month, I have Social Security of $4,000 a month, I need $6,000 a month. But it actually goes a lot deeper than that, because when you're talking about true retirement planning, one key pillar for a lot of our retirees is Social Security. Most people know you can take Social Security as early as 62, you can delay it as far as 70 years old. Obviously, in order to know the perfect age to take Social Security, we need to know what day you're going to pass away. But there are strategies of potentially taking one spouse's earlier, deferring the other spouses, taking them both early, taking them both later. It comes down to the individualized situation. But on top of that, retirement's about income. It's about spending and enjoying life. So understanding what is our basic expense analysis, just the amount of money needed to pay our bills and maintain our lifestyle. But retirement's not about just paying bills and maintaining our lifestyle. It's about traveling. It's about doing what you want with the family. So do we have the money to do that? But not just today, but including inflation into the future. $10,000 today, we know, is not the same thing 5 years, 10 years into the future. And we don't want to just maintain a base standard of living. We want to maintain the standard of living we want to live for the rest of our lives, and making sure that our nest egg doesn't get chunked in too quickly, that we're worried about years 15 through 30 in retirement. Here's the spousal plan for our families. My dad's a very savvy money manager. Obviously, I run this retirement planning firm, but we always tell my mom, what happens if something happens to my father and I, right? Everything's been set up as a family plan to make sure that if something happens to us, everything moves smoothly to my mom. And that moves into investment planning as well.
So on the investment planning side, with these goals, with us retiring, again, our goal is not just get that higher rate of return. It's really understanding our risk tolerance. Am I comfortable with the volatility of the market from both a numbers perspective with my portfolio and from an emotional and mental level? So we talk about our clients, handling that volatility throughout their overall plans. And fees are also a big part of this too. So it's important for our clients to know in their current plans, what are they paying? And one of the best ways to potentially get a better rate of return without taking any extra risk is by eliminating or at least reducing the fees inside of your portfolio. So we take a lot of time in the forefront of our planning with our clients to make sure we're evaluating all different strategies to reduce our fees, to reduce our risk tolerance, to help people understand all different parts of their portfolio. They've got money in the bank, maybe in insurance products, and also in the stock market world side of things. So people really need to understand how that all works together as part of that total retirement plan.
Great insights, as always. We're off to a great start, guys. Stick around. Rishi explains what you might be overlooking with your retirement plan. Plus, Rishi explains if the Secure Act 2.0 will affect your retirement. That's coming up later in this week's Tip of the Week when the Wheelhouse Retirement Show continues. Stay tuned.
Have you thought about your plan for long-term care? Do you need a policy to pay for it, or can you self-insure? If you have questions about long-term care planning and all the options available to you, you're not alone. I'm Anthony Stryker, and our team at Wheelhouse Advisory Group can help you create a plan to meet your personal needs and protect your hard-earned assets. If you are confused or concerned about planning for long-term care, call us today to learn how to steer your future in the right direction.
Welcome back to the Wheelhouse Retirement Show. Here today with Rishi and Anthony on the critical pillars of a comprehensive retirement plan. And so far we've covered the first pillar of total retirement planning, which includes investment and income planning. Now the second pillar, Anthony, we're going to start with you. You said this one is your favorite.
My favorite. It's one of my favorites. I'll tell you that.
No, you're not showing favorites, right?
No, I
You
can't.
like
I
it a lot.
can't. I love the whole plan, but tax planning and planning for taxes in retirement especially is so important when it comes to having a comprehensive retirement plan, because a lot of people have realized that they've saved in their IRAs and their 401ks, and all of that money has not been taxed yet. Some of that money is theirs, some of that money is Uncle Sam's. So anytime that we are building a retirement plan and talking about taxes, the first thing we have to do is look at the taxable nature of our holdings, the assets, the nest egg that we've built to do all these great things in retirement. How much do I have in pre-tax funds, 401ks and IRAs? How much do I have in after-tax funds, which if I make gains on those investments or I get interest and dividends on them, that's added to my taxable income. And then our real favorite are those Roth accounts, the tax-free accounts where I can see $1 in there. I know that whole dollar goes to that family and can be spent by that family since it's in a Roth IRA. After that, they're strategizing different ways to take that money and include tax-free or tax-deferred money in your plan. So we get into strategies of talking about, if someone retires before Medicare age, how much money I'm going to take from certain buckets to make sure that my Affordable Care Act or my Obamacare premiums are not too much and I can get the best premium credit for that there. And then, really leveraging your qualified money, the money that you have in your pre-tax accounts, and choosing year by year and having an active strategy, meeting with advisor 1 or 2 times a year at least to say, really go over the short-term plan and the long-term plan, and how can I make sure that when I do leave a legacy to my family or potentially charities down the road, I'm making sure those are tax-free dollars for them to use.
Yeah, so important. Okay, the third pillar has 2 components to it, you say. Why is that?
The third pillar, which I call estate planning, but realistically, if you break it down, it's really healthcare planning and legacy planning. So we break it down into 2 components, and the first part is healthcare planning. One of the big things that we try to figure out with our clients and our prospects and viewers that call the show is, what are your short-term goals, what are your long-term goals, and what's the overall situation? But going hand in hand with that, most people, when I say, do you want to leave money to the next generation, is it a big goal for you? Some people jokingly say, oh yeah, if I spend every dollar out there, I'm perfectly happy, like somebody like my dad, right? I'm not looking to leave a penny to you and your sister. Other people say, yes, I would like to take care of my son, daughter, my nieces, nephews, or maybe leave some money to charity.
Sorry, Rishi.
I know. If we do our job properly, there will be money left over. But the number one concern is making sure that we don't become a burden to the next generation. So that goes with healthcare planning, and that's planning for major medical and also analyzing some long-term care options. When I say long-term care options, it could be standalone long-term care policies. It could be policies that are built into whole life insurance policies, so somebody will get a benefit out of it. I'm excited to say that the majority of Wheelhouse retirees, we do ask them and we do recommend that they self-insure, which, I tell people all the time, that is fiduciary advice. We don't make no money off that advice, but as my father said, we don't pay for something that we can do ourselves. But understanding how we're going to do it and making sure we don't leave hope as a strategy, that I hope I don't go into major medical or long-term care, that's not a strategy. We have to have a plan. But that works hand in hand with legacy planning as well, because whatever is left over, as Anthony said, some is owed to Uncle Sam, some is to the family. Our hope is that all of it goes to the family if possible. And how exactly do we maximize estate planning strategies, income planning strategies, but more importantly, leveraging, the overall accounts through life insurance or through stock market investments so people get the stepped up cost basis in their non-qualified and trust accounts? How exactly do you make this work congruently to make sure that as much money moves on to the family as possible? I know we spend hours and hours. Lauren does a great job out of our office, always every 3 to 5 years, checking with our clients to make sure their estate plans are up to date. And actually, I know Anthony was talking to me about a story that went hand in hand with this.
That's true, and one of the harder parts of our job is we work with people who are aging and are getting deeper into retirement. Unfortunately, end of retirement is passing away. And so, 15, 20 times a year, we get that dreaded call, and we've planned for those calls. And, somewhat recently, in the past year or two, we had a long-term client pass away. And he had the majority of his clients, like most Wheelhouse clients, he had the majority of his assets held at Wheelhouse. He had 1 or 2 accounts outside that his family realized did not have the proper beneficiaries on, did not have the proper titling on. And while he had maybe 8 accounts at Wheelhouse where they went smoothly to the next generation because they were titled properly, these two accounts out there that were 5 to 10% of his total portfolio, are out there now in probate court, and the kids are having to hire lawyers, and that's a lot of hours and time spent for a family that's already going through a very, very uncomfortable time here.
Yeah, I know those are tough stories, and I know this all leads to, when do we move to that total retirement plan?
And we really say that, we talk about that 3 to 5 year period, but from the mental side of things, and you think about the numbers, it's, if I'm gonna, lose $500,000 from the stock market, making me lose my assets here, I'm in a place where I really don't want to be. But so when a client says to us that I just want to protect that $500,000, make sure it does not go away, is really when they might want to come down the Wheelhouse retirement planning path.
Thank you so much, guys. Coming up after the break, Rishi will tell us if Secure Act 2.0 will affect your retirement. That's next in our planning tip of the week.
You know it is important to check up on your health, but what about your wealth? If you aren't sure if you've saved enough for retirement, or if you don't know what your taxes will be once you do retire, or if you feel uncertain about how much risk is in your portfolio, then it's probably time for a financial checkup. I'm Rachel Meyer, and our team at Wheelhouse Advisory Group is ready to give your finances a checkup to help you live the retirement of your dreams.
Hi, I'm Rishi Ghosh with the Planning Tip of the Week. On this Planning Tip of the Week, we are going to talk about Secure Act 2.0. The first version of Secure Act, which we have talked about at length in the past, passed in December of 2019, had two main walkaways for retirees. One, it pushed the required minimum distribution, or RMD age, from 70.5 back to 72. And two, it eliminated the stretch IRA for beneficiaries, now requiring inherited IRAs to be liquidated within 10 years of the original IRA owner's death. Masked within a $1.7 trillion spending bill after months of debate and deliberation, Congress approved Secure Act 2.0. There's a lot in Secure Act 2.0, covering everything from required minimum distributions to 529 rollovers. Regardless of your investment goals, there's something in there that will affect your tax-advantaged investment accounts. When Congress passed the original Secure Act in 2019, the new legislation included significant changes for retirees. While the new legislation builds on the 2019 changes benefiting Americans in their 70s and 80s, the 2022 version also includes provisions impacting individuals who are still working towards retirement. It's important to understand what's included in Secure Act 2.0 and how it could affect your retirement. Let's take a look at a few of the highlights. Required minimum distribution of owners of qualified retirement accounts such as an IRA or 401ks must start taking required minimum distributions, or RMDs, from these accounts at a certain age. In 2019, the original Secure Act raised the age of required minimum distributions from 70.5 to 72. Now, Secure Act 2.0 raises the age of your first RMD to age 73. Why does this matter? Not only will you be able to let your money in your account grow for another year, but distributions from qualified retirement accounts won't be counted as taxable income for an additional year. If you're in the 60s and planning ahead, you may benefit even more from RMD changes. Secure Act 2.0 further raises the age at which RMDs must begin to age 75 in 2033. Catch-up contributions in 2023? Anyone over the age of 50 can now save an additional $7,500 annually to an employer-sponsored retirement plan, such as a 401k or 403b. But for your ages 62, 63, 64 in 2025, the catch-up contribution increases to $10,000 under the bill. That means you could defer a total of $32,500 into an employer-sponsored retirement account annually. A designated Roth account matching contributions, many employers offer Roth account options in certain qualified plans. But there has been a drawback. Employers were not permitted to deposit matching contributions directly into the Roth. The Secure Act 2.0 allows employers to make matching 401k plan contributions into an employee's Roth 401k account, potentially allowing for additional growth of tax-free retirement funds for the participant. Also, student loan matching. Previously, employers only matched plan participant contributions directly into their retirement plan. In 2024, if an employee makes qualified student loan payments, employers can make a matching contribution into their 401k, 403b, or simple IRA. Under the new rules, individuals don't have to make a choice between paying off student loans and saving for retirement. Instead, they can do both at the same time. Part-time workers and retirement plan eligibility. The Secure Act of 2019 allowed part-time workers to become eligible for their employer-sponsored 401k after 3 years of employment. Beginning in 2025, the Secure Act 2.0 reduces the period to 2 years, provided the employee works at least 1,000 hours per year. 529 College Savings Plan rollovers. For 529 College Savings Plan owners, starting in 2024, you will be able to roll over leftover funds directly into a Roth IRA, tax and penalty-free. Some limits apply, however. The 529 must be open for at least 15 years, and you are limited to a lifetime rollover amount of $35,000. There is an absolute annual limit on such rollovers equal to regular Roth IRA contribution limits. The passage of Secure Act 2.0 is a good reminder that Congress can pass legislation at any time impacting how you save for retirement and how much you pay in taxes, both positively and negatively. Here at Wheelhouse, we stay on top of these changes and understand how they may affect your current and future income. In conclusion, while the Secure Act 2.0 is a positive step towards improving retirement savings for Americans, it is not without its drawback. The expansion of coverage for retirement plans and the increase in age for RMDs are both positive changes. However, the elimination of the stretch IRA and failure to address larger issues of inadequate retirement savings may be a cause for concern. Here at the firm, we do believe for our retirees that this legislation could potentially lead to higher taxes in the future. Ultimately, it will be up to lawmakers to weigh the pros and cons and determine whether the Secure Act 2.0 is the right path forward to securing retirements for all Americans. Always seek the advice of a financial or tax professional to see how the Secure Act 2.0 might affect your retirement strategy and how you will be able to utilize it to plan for a more tax-advantaged retirement strategy. That's this planning tip of the week. The Wheelhouse Retirement Show continues next.
Did you know taxes could be your biggest expense in retirement? No one can avoid taxes completely, but you could potentially reduce your tax bill in retirement. Having a plan to help protect your retirement savings from higher taxes could mean more money in your pocket. At Wheelhouse Advisory Group, helping people like you minimize your taxes in retirement is something we are truly passionate about. Call us today to learn ways to possibly lower your taxes in the future.
Welcome back to the Wheelhouse Retirement Show. We are back with Rishi Ghosh and joined now by Lauren Ferraro. We want to welcome you to the show. I know this is your first television show, but I know you've been with the firm for almost a year now. Is that right?
Yes, that is. Thank you, Amy. I'm very excited to be here. I joined the advisory team at Wheelhouse about a year ago. Prior to coming on board at Wheelhouse, I had about 13 years experience as a retirement plan advisor. So I'm looking forward to continuing to work with our clients and help them really achieve their goals in retirement.
Tell us a little bit about your family. I think we're seeing a photo that is with a precious little girl there. Tell us more.
Thank you, Amy. Yes, my husband Luke and I, we are proud parents of a young 2-year-old girl. Her name is Sophia. I often refer to her as my little sissy. She's just a wonderful girl, the light of our lives, and we just love being parents to her. She's in her toddler phase right now, so she's learning a lot of her independence and telling us exactly what she wants. So as my husband kind of jokes around, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
There you go. Yeah.
She has a lot of my personality, but in any of my spare time, I just enjoy being with Sophia and being with our family. It's
Fantastic.
Really precious.
Well, welcome aboard. We'll have to talk later. I have teenagers and young adult girls.
You might need some advice.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'll take you down that path. But let's spin into this topic of when people are finally ready to make this move. I know Lauren's on board now. You're all working together. What's the first place to start at Wheelhouse?
The first step with Wheelhouse is really understanding what people's short-term goals are, long-term goals are, and overall situation is. I tell people all the time, even though tax planning might be a favorite aspect of retirement planning, if you don't have enough money to last you the rest of your life, what's the point of being tax efficient? Just like if you don't have a good solid income plan, whether markets are up, down, or flat, What's the point of having a great legacy planning if you can't pay your bills on a month-to-month or a year-by-year basis? So what we like to do with our viewers and our clients is constantly review, okay, what's the short-term goal? And when we say the short-term goal, really over the next 365 to maybe 2 to 3 year span. What are the big goals of house remodels, big vacations, family vacations? More importantly, what are the long-term goals? We got to be able to pay those day-to-day bills, but more importantly, we got to be able to pay those one-off expenses along the way. And we want to be able to help the family out and take care of the family, whether it's celebrating the family's achievements of college graduations or maybe new homes or new jobs. Figuring those out and then putting them into a mathematical data plan is really what we do, number one. Number two, we work into what we call a risk analysis and asset allocation analysis for each of our clients.
And that leads us into what are the greatest risks that, you set your goals, but then you have to be prepared for these risks. What's out there?
Yeah, so with risk analysis, one of the primary goals that we have when we meet with our clients is to help find them from the accumulation phase to the distribution phase as they get closer to retirement. So we focus on our clients' overall goals, and oftentimes when our clients come to us, if we look at the left-hand side of this pie chart, this is where they come to us. They have a lot of their money in the red section, which is the at-risk investments. And that's appropriate as you're going through the accumulation phase, but our clients all have the common theme of they're moving into retirement and moving into the distribution phase. So a key element and a strategy that we help our clients with is moving them into a more balanced portfolio so that they have less risk and more safety in their portfolio. That's one of the strategies that we will help our clients with, and it's very important.
In addition to that, what we try to help them with once we understand their risk analysis is really their tax analysis. As Anthony mentioned earlier on today's show, tax planning is such a crucial part. So many of the baby boomer generations or retiree generations, they always knew about investment diversification, but rarely did they think about tax diversification. So often than not, people think, oh, I'm too late into saving to think about tax planning, or I'm too late into retirement to worry about tax efficiency. I personally believe that that is not the case in anybody's situation. My personal belief is if you do tax planning today and God forbid something happens to you tomorrow, you still left your family with that component of a tax-free portfolio. So understanding the tax analysis, and that builds into the income investment plan. How do you draw out the money as efficiently as possible, leaving Uncle Sam with as little as possible? Key risks in somebody's retirement, which I've called my 5 speed bumps of retirement. Risk number one being market volatility, the ups and downs of the market. Obviously market volatility scares people. Who doesn't love the ups, but we don't like the downs, right? But we're in a different phase of life known as retirement. So we have to figure out how to generate income, whether markets are up, down, or flat. And that goes in hand with inflation as well. I will tell you, day-to-day inflation doesn't worry me as much for my clients. Who likes to pay the price of eggs 3 times the price of chicken wings, right? But healthcare inflation is a big thing, and that works hand in hand with longevity as well. What happens if we live till 85, 90, 100 years old? So go ahead.
The other 2 speed bumps are taxes and long-term care. So with taxes, most of our clients have come to us saving money in 401ks and IRAs. So we want to shift that money into Roth money to be more tax efficient for their portfolios and for their beneficiaries as well. And then lastly, long-term care is a really common speed bump that we see when clients initially come to us. Long-term care expenses are very expensive. They can be unexpected or expected. And so we want to do the best we can to make sure that our clients are planning ahead of time to cover those expenses.
For Rishi Ghosh, Anthony Stryker, Lauren Ferraro, and the team at Wheelhouse Advisory Group, I'm Amy Sharp. Have a great week, everyone. We'll see you next time.